Hey guys, it's Chris Hypen here from Scuba Adventure, coming live to you from Jefferson City. Guys, I'm going to talk to you about a couple of the historic wreck dives we're going to be taking people on here soon. The first is the USS Oriskany, also known as the Mighty O, which was one of the few aircraft carriers completed after World War II for the United States Navy. A lot of people don't know this, but the Mighty O was actually named after the Battle of Oriskany, which took place during the Revolutionary War. My friends that know me know I'm kind of a history nerd, and I really have a lot of passion for maritime history. The Mighty O operated primarily in the Pacific in the 70s, earning 2 battle stars in the Korean War and 10 service stars during the Vietnam War. In 1966, one of the worst shipboard fires since World War II broke out on the Oriskany when a magnesium flare accidentally ignited. 44 men died in this event. It was truly a tragic event. Some of my friends that are going to be coming with us in October to dive the Oriskany actually know one of the survivors and met him and gained some firsthand knowledge. And hopefully, I eventually like to meet him and gain some firsthand knowledge about everything that took place on the Mighty O and what it was like to live aboard that ship. But we're going to be diving that, and that's something we're going to try to do for you guys every year is offer trips down to the Mighty O. It is an advanced dive, and we do recommend that you be a deep diver certified as well. But definitely look at our schedule and keep an eye out for possibly doing that. The next, guys, is the U-352. It's one of the most historic wrecks that I've ever dove, and it's just truly an amazing sight. As I swam up to this dive site, it literally gave me goosebumps. The U-352 is significant American military history and maritime history as well, as it was the first U-boat sunk by the United States Coast Guard off the American East Coast during World War II, during the Battle Atlantic. It was sunk just 24 miles off the coast of North Carolina. And we all know the seas of the Atlantic can be kind of rough at times. Around 4 o'clock in the afternoon on May 9, 1942, the U-352 came across what they thought was a merchant vessel, and a torpedo was fired. Unfortunately for the Germans, the torpedo missed. And even more unfortunately for the Germans, the ship they had fired upon was not a merchant ship. It was a U.S. Coast Guard cutter called Icarus. Realizing their mistake, the U-boat immediately went down to the sea floor to avoid the barrage of anti-submarine defenses. But at a depth of only 95 feet, the U-boat wasn't deep enough to avoid the immediate barrage of depth charges on it. The periscope conning tower suffered major damage. The deck gun had been blown off. All the lights had failed and everything. So they believed that they weren't going to be able to escape. So the captain actually gave order to abandon the ship. When it returned to the surface, Icarus immediately opened fire with 50 caliber and 30 caliber machine guns. The Coast Guard ship then trained its 3-inch guns on what was left of the conning tower, forcing the men to jump in the water to try to save themselves. 5 minutes later, after resurfacing, the U-352 returned to the bottom of the Atlantic, that time for the very, very last time, and that's where it still remains today. Icarus later retrieved the survivors about an hour later. 13 men died aboard the U-352. Another man died on board the Icarus that had a severed leg, and he died later that night. The survivors of the U-352 were taken to Charleston, South Carolina as the first prisoners of war taken by American soldiers during World War II. That is very historic and something you don't really learn in history books. If you end up going on this dive with us, do me a favor. Before you jump off the boat, before you do your dive, I want you to reflect on what actually happened in those waters. I want you to picture the depth charges going off, the gunfire, the people dying and screaming for help, all at the exact same spot that you were stopped at. And if that doesn't already send chills down your spine, when you swim down and you go beneath the waves and you approach that submarine and you realize the poor young souls left behind who died there inside there. And even though they were our enemy, they were still human beings. They were still someone's sons. They were still young men, some of them only 17 years old. So when you dive there, be sure and do me a favor, pay your respects to all those who served. But that's something we're going to go dive here in July. And if you are interested in this trip, give the shop a call. Mike Sapp's actually going to be taking 16 divers, I believe, out to that site, maybe a few more. We do require you at least be advanced divers. You do need to have several log dives, be a good confident diver, because as I said before, it is kind of a challenging dive, and we do recommend that you have your deep diver certification as well. As always, if you ever need anything scuba related, be sure to give us a call here at the Scuba Shop, and I look forward to diving with you guys. You can reach us at 573-634-DIVE, 573-634-3483.